Greetings, mathematicians. Hope you're doing okay. I am going to go over how to measure an angle using a protractor. But first, a few jokes. I enjoy bike riding, so I found that one pretty good. All right, let me get my screen set up here. All right, let me zoom in just a little bit. There we go. All right, so we want to try to be as accurate as we can when we measure angles and draw them. So the first thing we want to do is we want to line up the center of the protractor with the vertex of the angle. We're going to rotate the protractor to line up with the ray with a side of the angle. Okay, so one of those sides is called the ray. Starting with 0, measure the degree that the angle opens. All right, so let's take a look at this. Well, first of all, these orange protractors, you can see that we have numbers on top and we've got numbers in the middle. So we need to keep in mind what type of angle it is that we're measuring. So before I even measure this angle, I know it's going to be acute. Well, what does that mean? That means it's less than 90 degrees. So that's going to help me which numbers I need to use on the protractor. All right, so the middle of the protractor, I want to try to show you here, and it's a little bit glary here. It's really the middle part of, I just think of this as like a half sun, and there is these two perpendicular lines, and right there, trying to do that with the tip of my pen, that is where we want to line up one of the rays along there, and then that vertex is going to go right there. Okay, so you kind of sometimes have to adjust it a little bit. Okay, so here I'm adjusting it. Make sure I'm still in the camera here. All right, so you can see my vertex is right on 0, and my angle is going through 30 and the 150. All right, so then I got to think to myself, well, which one of those makes sense? Because this is an acute angle, it is going to be 30 degrees. So I use those smaller numbers that are on the inside. Okay. Now down below, the protractor is already given to us. And so I want you to practice finding the degrees of these different angles. Now remember that O is going to be called the vertex. That's why on all of these angles, O is in the middle when we name that angle. So let's just do one or two of these together, and then I'm going to give you a chance to try these out. AOB. Okay, so to find that angle, AOB. So again, right away, I try to think, what type of angle is that going to be? And I know that's going to be acute. Okay, so that indicates it needs to be less than 90 degrees. So AOB, it goes from 0 and it's in between 30 and 40. So I know that that is going to be 35 degrees. AOC, AOC. So again, I'm looking at that angle. I know it's going to be acute. AOC. So again, I'm going to use those smaller measurements. It's in between 60 and 70. Well, the number right in between 60 and 70 would be 65 degrees. Now, I'd like you to pause the video, and I want you to find the last 6. Okay, so you found the 6 of them. I want to go through those with you. Now this time, BOC. Now we're not starting right at 0. Okay, so this one we got to kind of figure out what that's going to be. It looks like it's an acute angle. Okay, I think that really helps you out if you realize it's an acute angle. And this ray is going through 35. And OC is going through 65. Well, 65 minus 35, that's going to make angle BOC 30 degrees. BOE. BOE. All right, so that one I know is obtuse. BOE. So this is at 35, and E is going through 145. So if I subtract those, I get that BOE is going to be 110 degrees. And I should have named this one. This one was at 65. Maybe that will help how I ended up getting BOC there on that one. All right, COE. COE. All right, well, I've got everything marked here. So I'm going to take 145 minus 65, and that's going to give me 80 degrees. COD. Well, I don't have this one yet, but that one is at 110 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to help me find COD. 110 minus 65 is 45. And again, that would be an acute angle. BOD. All right, so it looks like it's just going to be a little bit less than 90 degrees, so we're still talking about an acute angle. I'm going to go 110 minus 35. 75 degrees. And my last one, AOE. All right, so I definitely know that that is an obtuse angle. And this is at 0. AOE. All right, so I see that it's in between 30 and 40 and in between 140 and 150. And I know that it's an obtuse angle, so I got to be looking at those higher numbers. So I know that that's going to be 145 degrees. All right, go ahead and get that glued in your notes. And I think we have some other practice for you on measuring angles and drawing angles using a protractor.